Is Electrostatic Burst any good in Prey 2017? Let us discover this secret. Alright, so here's an enemy. Electrostatic Burst. Looks like he's disabled. Let's smack him a few times and watch him explode. Let's hit another dude with it. Can I get a feel for it here? Can I back off on that exploding robot? So, is it any good? Yes, it is. It is pretty good. It's essentially a smaller radius kinetic burst. However, it does deal shock damage. So any enemy that is voltaic, voltaic phantoms, voltaic mimics, anything that is currently voltaic or is permanently voltaic will be completely immune to its effects. So what is good about this ability? Why should you run it? It does AoE damage. It stuns enemies, especially robotics. So there's some mimics over here. Let's see if we can get them to hang out with each other. So you can see right here I get both mimics. Alright, so that dude actually jumped out of the range of it. So that can happen when you're casting it, unfortunately. So let's just hit this guy now. Alright, so this mimic is not cooperating. Alright, so obviously you want to use it on enemies that aren't leaping at you. So let's actually go over this ability and where it really shines and excels. Okay, so under Neuromods, under Energy, you will find it. Alright, so this can be acquired from scanning voltaic phantoms and technopaths. So those are the only two enemies that you can actually learn this from. The first tier does 25 electric damage. It doesn't say that, but it does deal electric damage within 3 meters, and it stuns robots for 3 seconds and anything else for 2. Rank 2, 40 damage, so a pretty big increase in damage with a 4-meter radius, so an increase in radius. Stuns robots for 6 seconds, stuns biological for 4. And then finally we have the Tier 3. It has 55 damage with a 5-meter radius, which is decent, and also stuns robots for 9 seconds. So you can actually maintain a stun on them. You can with Tier 2, but it's much easier with Tier 3. And then it also stuns biological for 6. So there are some things to note about the damage of this ability. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reload a save really quick just to show you the damage. So unlike Kinetic Burst, which deals damage based on proximity to the epicenter, Electrostatic Burst deals damage, the full damage, regardless of how far away. So I'm going to actually hit him on the edge, and he'll take full damage. It also deals a little bit of scaled damage to electronics, as you might expect. So as long as enemies are in the radius, they will take full damage. So I'm going to hit both these dudes. They both take 58. So the damage is not affected by proximity to the epicenter. So this is a huge difference between this ability and Kinetic Burst. Kinetic Burst only deals full damage to foes that are pretty much standing on the epicenter. So this can deal more consistent AoE damage. The only downside is you can't use it on voltaic enemies, so there's actually a voltaic enemy coming up. So let's kill these 2 mimics. So there you go. Like there's the AoE that I missed from earlier. So here's a voltaic phantom. I'm actually use this on him. It'll do literally nothing. He will not flinch. He will not be stunned. He'll take no damage. So this is an extremely powerful ability against every single enemy except for voltaic enemies, which there aren't a ton of. There's like a good amount of them, but there's not like an insane amount. So if you do plan on running this, I highly recommend running Psycho Shock to deal with enemies it can't affect. So you can just Psycho Shock the voltaic phantoms and then just kind of pistol them down. Whatever you want to do. It basically makes them like really weak. And, you know, they just kind of menacingly walk at you, and then you can just gun them down. So it does pair really well with Psycho Shock. Another thing to note is Electrostatic Burst is good against cystoids in space if you don't have objects to throw at them. I kind of went over that in the Kinetic Burst video, how it's useful to have AoE damage just to deal with cystoids, because they can be kind of annoying. Like if you're just floating in space and there's no objects near you to throw at them, and you don't run the crossbow, which I do not, it's very useful to be able to just blow up enemies in a small AoE. But the damage is good, it's consistent, the stun is great. Being able to CC on demand is really good. I actually don't run the stun gun because I just use this ability. I am experimenting with the Q-beam. So far, it's okay. But I'm going to be covering weapons in a separate playthrough. In this playthrough, I'm going over telepath abilities. So if you kind of look at my build here, I'm investing in quite a few of them. But in another playthrough, I'll cover weapons and the human side of things. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Electrostatic Burst. It has a 6-second cooldown, and it also costs 30 PSI, so it is a little bit cheaper than Kinetic Blast. However, Kinetic Blast can hit more dudes because it has a larger AoE, and it can affect anything that's electric. It affects every enemy in the game. So if you're running this, I would highly recommend running either Kinetic Blast or Psycho Shock, so you have some way of dealing with electric dudes. I mean, you don't need to use these abilities to deal with electric dudes. You can just kind of do this, for example. Like, here's an electric dude. You can just do one of these. You can just shoot them. You can just use guns. That's pretty effective, too. But yeah, there you go. That is it for this Electrostatic Burst video.